Nick Nurse, head coach of the Raptors, joining us here on Tim and Sid. Nick, always a pleasure talking to you. 26th regular season opener for the franchise is tomorrow. It will be far from regular. How is that going to feel, Nick, starting a Raptors season not in Raptors Nation for you?
Not that cool. Not that cool. Thanks for having me on, but it's where we are. Like, what an adventurous third season to start here as a home game down in Tampa, Florida. Who would have ever imagined that?
So, Nick, as a coach, once you show me something, that's the standard. So this is year 3 for you. Year 1, championship. Year 2, coach of the year. What are you coming with now, Nick? How do you top what you've previously
done?
Really,
the question. That's the Nick Nurse question you're coming with now, Scott. That's the question.
Pretty much.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. I just want to keep winning. I don't really care about the Coach of the Year award or any of that stuff. I want to keep winning and be relevant and be a team that has a chance, man. I think you got to be in the half dozen or so teams at the end that have a shot at it. And I think the first 2 years we were. Obviously, 1 year we got it done, and last year we were close. We could have very easily been in the finals again last year. I just want to keep winning and be relevant to that conversation.
Nick Nurse, head coach of the Toronto Raptors. They get going tomorrow night against the Pelicans here on Tim and Sid. All right, Nick, I want to talk about OG here. He gets the contract yesterday, $72 million, and he was speaking to the media earlier today, and he was asked about where his game is at offensively, and OG said, quote, "I definitely think I'm capable of more than I have shown," end quote. How closely tied, Coach, is the future of this team, both not only this season but going forward, to where OG can take his game offensively, do you think?
Well, I think I agree with him. I think a lot of these things go hand in hand with opportunity, right? I think that his opportunity continues to increase. I think it should increase a lot this year. We've lost a couple more pieces of guys that were key to the team that did have some usage, and that's got to be spread somewhere. And I kind of like where Kyle and Fred and Pascal are at in terms of usage, and OG needs to increase his a little bit, and I think that's always a big factor. And he's right. He's getting better. His ball handling is better. His starting and ending drives is better. His finishes around the basket are becoming more varied. It'll take a little time. He's awful young still. I think his future is very, very bright. Very bright.
The team last year was second in defensive efficiency. You guys got a lot of stops, got out and run 14th in offensive efficiency. Other than the fast break in the half court, what can you do this year to unlock someone like OG to give you a little bit more offense in the half court?
Well, we got to find a little more space for him, right? We got to find some chances for him to drive the basketball into some open areas. I think that's the first thing. We've got to be a little bit more dynamic with our cutting and ball movement than we were last year in the half court. I mean, we were great, as you mentioned in the transition. I always say if we're going to play all that defense, we better get something out of it at the other end, and we did. Number 2 defense, a lot of transition buckets. I hope that that's still the case. Just a little more fluidity and ball movement, a little better spacing on offense should help everybody, including OG.
Raptors head coach Nick Nurse here on Tim and Sid. How would you describe Pascal's preseason, Nick?
Well, he's working, right? He's working. I think that there's no secret to the questions he's gotten about his game, pre and post bubble. I think he's acknowledged that. I think he's taken it head on. I see more of a smile on his face. I see more energy at practice, pre and post practice, in practice, etc. I don't think we're maybe going to, snap our fingers and see him right back to pre-March 11th tomorrow night. But I think we're getting closer to that person. Yeah.
Everyone is adjusting to when the season is starting, but also the condensed number of games. You have Kyle, who starts the season as 34 and obviously always wants to be on the floor. He was fourth in minutes a year ago. How do you manage what was a long season, a short off season, and making sure that someone like Kyle and the team is fresh down the stretch?
Well, I think at this stage, you got to feel it out a little bit. I think that, this year in totality, you had about 6 months off, four with the break and 2 with since the end of the season. So that's like a little more than normal in reality. So he's got to kind of gauge where he's at early here, work him in. He's in tremendous shape, as for a preseason training camp shape, tremendous, like better than maybe I've ever seen. So, I gotta try to manage it a little bit here early, but I would say here, 6 or 8 games are going to be some high minute games for him. Yep.
Nick Nurse here on Tim and Sid. What has it been like being back in the arenas? Because as a consumer at home, Nick, it's felt way more normal for obvious reasons. But how much more normalcy, as normal as it can be for a Toronto team to be in Tampa, how much more normal has it been for you?
Well, Charlotte felt okay, right? When we went to Charlotte for a couple preseason games, I think I was expecting it to be this, big, way too big, no fans, really different atmosphere. I didn't really sense that. I thought it felt okay, didn't really sense that the crowd wasn't there and we were in a big empty arena. The first game in Tampa was a little different feeling. They hadn't, it was a little loud, like the music was too loud and they had a lot of like first game kinks. There was no video replay. The stats weren't there. It was all kinds of stuff going on for a first basketball game there that I think I was getting flustered more by that stuff than I was the lack of fans or whatever. But as always, it felt a lot like a minor league game to me the other night, like typical when I was coaching the Iowa Energy. We get about 3,500, 4,000 fans, and they're scattered all over a big arena. They're there, but you can't really tell they're there. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And I appreciate how weird it has been what was the first game in Tampa and will probably be tomorrow night. But your resume is, we all know your resume and where you've been and how many types of regular season openers you've had. Tomorrow night can't be the strangest one you've ever experienced. Like, does one come to mind clearly will trump what happens tomorrow?
Oh man, my first game as player coach I was playing in Derby, England. I was a player and I was a head coach. I was young. I was about 22 years old. We were played down in London in this little rec center against the London Docklands. That was the name of the team. And the PA announcer was coming out to announce the starting lineups, and the mic wasn't working, and he was kind of hitting the top of the mic and still no sound. So he just set it down on the floor and put his hands up to his mouth and shouted out the starting lineups. So I elbowed my other American player. I said, "Man, we've really hit the big time here, haven't we?" So there you go.
They brought out the 1905 sound system at that point, right? That's it. Yeah, just town crier. And starting at guard for Nick Nurse and company. Right. Yeah, that's hilarious. Go ahead, Nick Nurse with us. Go ahead, DJ.
What accent was that, by the way?
He said Derby. I'm trying to forgive me. It wasn't a great impression. Let's move past it as a group. Go ahead.
That's good.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
But seriously though, because this is an adjustment period for everyone in all facets of life. But do you think back to some of those moments along the road, some of them that you've obviously documented in your personal story, when you're thinking about the opportunity that you have in front of you?
Yeah, I do really. It's just kind of like another adventure along this kind of wild path that I've ended up on in coaching, all over the place. And it seems kind of fitting, really. And again, it's like, I don't know. I think it helps the training that I've had over all the years. It helps me get to the game tomorrow night. And, I got some players. I got to figure out who's healthy and who can go and get them out there and try to get them to play their best. And and there's an opponent that you got a game plan for, and once it goes up, you start making the adjustments, and yeah, I think it does help. I hope it helps anyway. Hope it helps. Yeah.
Nick Nurse, head coach of the Raptors, here on Tim and Sid. Again, the 26th season in Raptors history gets going tomorrow night. Raptors in Tampa Bay taking on the Pelicans. That never becomes normal to say. Every time I say it, it's kind of strange. I don't know when you're going to turn it in tonight, Nick, and get ready for tomorrow and shoot around, but I know a lot of Raptor fans are going to take in Clippers-Lakers. A, how much of that are you going to watch? And B, how strange will it be to see Marc and Serge in different unis, considering what they will eternally mean to you and your career?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly going to watch. I'll probably make it to the first half. I'll probably be just to see those guys more than anything. Kind of see what the Clippers look like under T. Lue in their first time out as well. But yeah, I don't know. I hope those guys do well. I certainly miss them. They're, as you just said, they're kind of entrenched with a stamp of champ, right? And it's just, you can't. There's nothing you can't take that away, and it's always special, man. I every time I think of them, I think fondly of them. So, it'll be a little different, and probably a little bit sad, to be honest with you, see him playing with the other guys, wearing different jerseys anyway tonight.
We're running, I know you can't see it on the TV side here on Sportsnet. We just ran the still of the preseason shot where Kawhi, Marc, and Serge all congregated in a physical sense during one of the preseason games. And the word you use, weird, there's not a better word to describe what we're looking at here, just in terms of knowing what the history is. So, I mean, I'm with you. They're going to be fine. That rivalry is as hot as ever, but I can't get them out of a Raptors jersey for some reason. I just can't mentally do it,
I hear you. And I too often than not, when you're, especially this time of year, when you're pulling clips about, what New Orleans does, and you see some of your games from last year, or you're pulling clips from Van Gundy, and you see them, again, whatever it is, you see them probably a little more, keeps it fresh in your mind, and makes you miss them. You're right.
Absolutely. Nick, before we let you go, I know golf is also near and dear to your heart. Is it weird to ask you how many majors an 11-year-old is going to win one day? But if you don't think it's weird, how many majors do you think Charlie Woods will one day win after what we saw in Orlando over the weekend?
Oh, man. I think it's really hard to be really great. So how about 3? I'm going to go with a low number of 3.
I thought you were going to shut me down based on that opening salvo, and you throw 3 out there. I love it.
Nope. I'll throw 3.
I honestly, you're a better golfer than the two of us combined by a country mile, but I'm looking at some of those approaches from Charlie, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever hit a golf ball that well in my entire life. It was very humbling. It's extremely humbling.
Really something. Got a pretty good swing, all right?
No doubt.
Pretty good swing.
No doubt. Good genes, I guess. Good genes.
Yeah, for sure.
Nick, a lot of people up here can't wait to see you again, physically. Until then, all the best. We'll be watching, and take care, and best of luck, brother.
Okay. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure. Let's go. Can't wait to get back up there, though. Thanks a lot.
Here. Thank you,
Yes,
Nick.
sir.
All the best. There's Nick Nurse.